Hey, everybody. Before we start this episode of One Hit Thunder, I wanted to tell you about another podcast on the Evergreen Podcast Network that you should check out, whether you're a sports fan like me or just enjoy a good story. It's called Press Box Access, and it's hosted by writer Todd Jones. He sits down with other sports writers who knew some of the greatest athletes and coaches, many of whom experienced firsthand some of the biggest sports moments of the past 50 years. Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson, the defensive greatness of Lawrence Taylor, the tragic death of Dale Earnhardt, social justice issues and protests in sports, and even fun discussions like who was better in their prime, Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus. You'll hear from the writers who covered these stories firsthand. People like Peter King, Dave Kindred, Kevin Blackistone, Liz Clark, and tons more. Personally, I'm waiting for an episode about Mario Lemieux being the greatest story in the history of sports. Can't believe they haven't made a movie about that guy yet. Anyway, yes, go subscribe to Press Box Access, a sports history podcast, wherever you get your pods, and go to youtube.com/@PressBoxAccess for some great video content as well. You'll be glad you did when you're sharing some great tidbits the next time you get together with the crew to watch the big game. When you hear the name Positive K, you probably think of One Hit Thunder producer Matt Kelly, who is definitely one of the most positive human beings you ever meet. Alas, we're not talking about that Positive K, but instead, rapper Daryl Gibson, whose early 90s hit I Got a Man took the airwaves by storm. K's upbeat vibe was so irresistible that even the legendary Aretha Franklin couldn't help but be a fan. Also, you might want to break out some potholders because you can lose your grip when you hear which phrase Positive K possibly coined, only to see it rise to fame in the hands of another rapper years later. In today's episode, we'll decide if Positive K has the skills to pay the bills or if he's just crabbing.
I'm not trying to hear that. See, what your man got to do with me? I got a man. I'm not trying to hear that.
Now you can persist and play down 1 all night, but ain't nothing gonna change.
Yeah, baby, sure you're right. I'ma break it down and do whatever I got to do. I'll tell you now, I got eyes for you.
You got eyes, but they're not for me. You better use them for what they're for, and that's to see.
You know,
one hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever.
And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it One Hit Thunder? Okay, so why does Daryl Gibson get to be Positive K and not you? Matt Kelly should be Positive K.
I think he just got there first, man.
Yeah.
Age is the only thing that can explain it.
Yeah, he got a few years on you. He was born in 1967 in the Bronx, and he came up near Echo Park, where early hip-hop DJs Grandmaster Flash, DJ Sinbad, and Busy Bee would throw block parties. I can't imagine how fun it would be to go to a block party in the Bronx where Grandmaster Flash was DJing.
Did you watch that Baz Luhrmann Netflix show, The Get Down?
No, I didn't. Should I?
Ooh, I think you would like The Get Down. The Get Down is, I think they did 2 seasons of it, and it's literally about it's about the Bronx in the late 70s, early 80s as hip hop is being created.
Oh,
man. It's it was how I first understood what the backbeat is. They were they actually explain what the skill set is of having the 2 turntables and how you essentially need 2 of the same record, and you have to perfectly memorize where a certain part of the beat starts on the groove of the vinyl be ready to drop the needle, have it playing on the one end, and then quickly crossfade to the next one before you drop the needle on the other one to keep the beat going repetitively. And it was wow, that's so much work. That's so impressive that people figured that out, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm going to have to watch that show. But yeah, Daryl Gibson, a.k.a. Positive K, is what we know him as. His first musical endeavor was a short-lived rap group with his family, and it was called Disco Cousins, which is awesome. I have a lot of cousins. I wish that I would have had a band of all cousins called Disco Cousins.
Now, was that when I did read an interview with Positive K? Was that when he was still rapping under the name Baby Breeze, which he later said was the worst name he's ever had?
I think I think Positive K would have been a good nickname for you, but I also think Baby Breeze would have been a good nickname for you. I think he's stealing all your nicknames, man.
I mean, he gave up Baby Breeze, so I could steal that one, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
but I guess the Positive K thing came from, he was a part of 5% Nation, and he joined a rap group called Almighty God Committee, and they were from Queens. And he rapped under the name Positive Knowledge Allah. And,
so
that got
I did
Positive
a
K,
lot of research on this.
Okay.
So do you know what the 5% Nation is?
Is it like a collective of rappers from that era?
No, that's what I thought when I originally clicked into it. So the 5% Nation was also known as the Nation of Gods and Earth. And it is a black nationalism movement influenced by Islam that was founded in 1964 in the Harlem section of Manhattan. The group taught the belief that black people were the original people on the planet Earth and therefore were the fathers, gods, and mothers, earths of civilization. There was a whole lot to break down. There's a giant Wikipedia page about it. It was not without some issues. It was definitely accused of being a black supremacy group. It was also accused of constantly promoting male chauvinism and a lot of misogyny at that time. I'm also thinking, formed in the 60s, like I guess that's kind of just ingrained in it. But it's been considered widely influential on the movement of hip hop, and the 5% Nation is where terms like a cipher, word is bond, and dropping science originated from in the teachings of the 5% Nation. Noteworthy rappers who have been associated with the 5% Nation movement include Big Daddy Kane, Busta Rhymes, Black Sheep, Diggable Planets, Erykah Badu, most of the Wu-Tang Clan, the Saint Lunatics, LL Cool J, and Jay-Z, and Positive K.
Wow. That's quite a resume.
That's a hell of a resume. And I learned a little bit about the Almighty God Committee as well, because I read something on the Wikipedia that didn't make any sense to me. And it said, after the DJ played the wrong side of a record at a televised rap contest, the rest of the group walked off stage, but Gibson continued on as a solo act.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like that doesn't feel like a full story to me.
Yeah, that makes it sound like they played the wrong song, so the group walked off, but Positive K stayed up there.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's what that means. I think that's a very confusing sentence.
So there was a citation on Wikipedia. I clicked into it and I read the interview, and this is a bit of a lengthy paragraph, but he says, I got into a group and they were called the Almighty God Committee. I was a member of the 5% Nation, and my name was Positive Knowledge Allah, so the abbreviation was Positive K. This was my first official group, and we looked good. We had a little cash at the time, and we used to dress really well. We'd wear jewelry. We were like street kids at the time, but we were all in the 5% Nation. We were on the scene and doing things. He talks about a bunch of the different people he knew, but he goes, we met up with this one guy who was so big in the local area because he was so good on stage. He used to rap and sing. They wouldn't let us get on this show, but we ran into him in a bathroom, and he said, I'll see what I can do. And he went and he talked to his people, and he got us on a show, and it was a rap contest. We were there in our leather outfits. We had this jewelry on. It was incredible. We get on the stage, and we do this little dance step intro, and we had this DJ. He was incredible, but he didn't know how to cut on the knobs. He knew the crossfader inside and out, but they had this big knob thing going, and he was so nervous working the knobs that he put on the wrong side of the record. It was a break beat, and we got into this routine, and the girls were screaming, and we were looking good, and then it came to do the song part, and the record came on, and it was just some bongos, horns, and flutes, and we were like, oh my God, and the crowd just started booing us. The rest of the guys got off stage, but I stayed on the stage. When the beat came back on, I just kept on rapping, and everybody started doing the like go, go, go thing, and I was able to redeem myself, but the rest of the guys were too embarrassed and decided they didn't want to rap anymore.
Wow.
So kind of, yeah, what we read is the truth. Everybody left but him, and he kept doing it, and like that's how Positive K spun off from the Almighty God Committee.
Damn, that's awesome. That's like if they make the Positive K movie at some point, that's going to be an awesome early scene. And it really fits the Positive K thing. It's a very optimistic thing to do. It's a very, hey, I'm just going to roll with the punches. I'm going to do my thing. That's a pretty awesome story. I love that.
Yeah. So here's my question for you, because I'm assuming that you knew this song and you're a Positive K fan for the most part.
Please don't tell me you didn't know this song.
I was vaguely aware of this song, but the way that I first knew Positive K is that he appears on the hidden track of the Beavis and Butthead Experience.
Oh, jeez.
On the remixed version of Come to Butthead, he has verses telling Butthead that you got to be a good, clean fellow if you're going to make it in this game. And like, girls aren't going to like you when you're a douchebag, Butthead. You got to be a nice guy.
Wow. I didn't know that. I mean, I guess that's a few years after this song came out. That
would have been 93. It would have been the same time. So,
all right. Around the same time. That's cool. Well, what's crazy about this is that this song is almost like a remake of an older song that he did, or like a sequel to it, because he had a song way before this called I'm Not Having It, which was a duet with MC Lyte, where it's the same kind of thing where he's kind of trying to get with her, but she's kind of not having it, but she kind of likes him a little bit, so she's giving him a little something to go on, and it's kind of the same song with a different beat. And this time on his actual single, he does all the voices. It's just pitched up instead of being MC Lyte.
I love that they pitch corrected or pitch shifted him to be a female vocal, because I don't think, like, knowing that information, listening to it, I can tell, but it's for 1992, 1993, it's a pretty good pitch shift.
Yeah.
To make me buy that it's not him.
Oh, I thought it was a woman for sure. Yeah. It sounds like it. I mean, it doesn't sound too much different than, I don't know, than MC Lyte, honestly. Yeah.
I'm thinking of like when Will Smith was doing Fresh Prince and was doing like a conversation with a female character in a song, and it's very clearly just Will Smith doing a slightly higher pitched voice, like in like Parents Just Don't Understand.
Yeah. No, this was a very effective use of the pitch shift. And I got to tell you, man, I forget what songs I said this about in the past, but there are certain lines of certain songs that just play in my head forever, probably once a day. And the line from this song that has played in my head for probably, how long's it been, 30 years now since this song came out, 30 some years, is the line that says, I'm going to break it down and do whatever I got to do. I tell you now, I got eyes for you. Not that line, but this line. You got eyes, but they're not for me. You better use them for what they're for, and that's to see. That line is just always in my head. You got eyes, but they're not for me. You better use them for what they're for, and that's to see. I've just had that line in my head forever, and I love it.
I just assumed you were going to say the "What's a Man Got to Do with Me," because I think I texted you, hey, I got a man one, and you just immediately wrote back, what's your man got to do with me?
I'm not trying to hear that, see? Hey, I got to say that sometimes when you go back to the late 80s, early 90s, and you listen to hip-hop songs, sometimes you're like, this is pretty cheesy, or the beat is lame, or the flow isn't good, or whatever. I think this song holds up, man.
This song's great.
I love the beat. I love his flow, everything about this, and even the tone of his voice. He's got a really cool tone to his voice and everything. I think he's great.
I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was doing the research, it feels like he was his own worst enemy on like, sometimes we'll sit here and we'll get to the end of the episode and we'll talk about like, oh, should this guy have been a bigger hit? Like, why didn't this work out? And I think the biggest reason this didn't work out is dude didn't release another record. He kept like stalling out. Like he kept saying, it was very similar to Craig Mack. Remember, like the Craig Mack story was like he kept almost doing a record. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think in his Wikipedia, there's 3 different albums that they mention him in interviews saying my next record is going to be this. And then every one of those paragraphs ends with, but the album never surfaced. Like something just kept getting in his way. I don't know if he got burnt out on doing music. I mean, hypothetically, if his big break, like he said his first time that he showed an interest in music was, I think he was like 14 and the Fearless Four were performing in his neighborhood and they gave him a mic for a little bit, and that like changed everything for him. So we're thinking that has to be, if we're talking Grandmaster Flash, Fearless Four, we're talking probably early 80s. So he's probably been grinding for 10 to 12 years by the time I Got a Man finally starts to like make any type of waves. And I wonder if by that point he was just burnt out because he got into promotional work, which apparently had a good eye for promotional work because the clients it said he worked with was like Outkast, Puff Daddy, and Rampage, which like those are pretty legit clients if they're like who you're the promoter for. But
yeah, maybe he parlayed his success and his networking with other artists, and he was making more money doing something else. He had this hit. I mean, the song peaked at number 14.
It was a pretty interesting chart, too, when it peaked. It peaked at 14 on March 20th, 1995. You want to know what song you and I both love that he was above on the chart?
The single was released in December 92. Oh, it was above a song we both love in 93. Ooh, I don't know.
So it took about 4 months to get from debut to the charts. It was a 1-2, Princes kneel before you. That's what I said.
You think I love Two Princes a lot or something?
I think you do. I know I love Two Princes. Two Princes by the Spin Doctors was number 15. He got above the Spin Doctors, but the top 5 that week is all over the goddamn place. So strap in. Number 5, Whitney Houston, I'm Every Woman.
Okay.
Fucking great. Number 4, Peebo Bryson and Regina Bell.
Yeah, Peebo.
Peebo. All right.
Yeah.
And Regina Bell with A Whole New World. So Aladdin must have been fresh in the theaters at that point.
Yeah.
Number 3, Silk with Freak Me.
Okay.
All right. But number 2, this is almost sad to me because at number 2, Dr. Dre, Nothing But a G Thing.
Okay.
Possibly in the conversation for one of the greatest rap songs of the early 90s. Might even be, in some people's estimation, the best rap song of the early 90s. So what song was above it? Snow's Informer.
Oh yeah, I mean that was on its run, yeah, for sure. That's pretty interesting, and it could explain a little bit Dr. Dre being that high and Positive K still being sort of like an old school rapper, and the song more or less being, I don't know, I don't think it's cheesy, but
no,
it's
but
not
it's,
about
it's
like,
definitely like 93. You're seeing kind of like, this is where groups like Tribe Called Quest and like Leaders of the New School and De La Soul and Black Sheep are all starting to kind of slip off the charts because of the rise of the more like West Coast, East Coast gangster rap style. Like people were done with the upbeat. They were literally done with the upbeat, hippie, positive rap. And then in comes a dude literally named Positive K.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it was just timing. He's probably lucky to have this hit before it was too late. You know, I mean,
I think 94, this song doesn't make it on the charts. You know what I mean? Like, if it comes out 1 year later, it doesn't work out for Positive K, even though I think the song's great.
And maybe he knew that. And, dude, he, you know, another thing is I kind of felt like he was painting himself into a corner of being a one-trick pony because another single from the same album, Car Hoppers, he once again was doing the same thing where it's like he's having a conversation with a pitch-shifted version of himself. And, like, I don't know. I feel like, how many times can you do that? That can't just be your thing every song. Hey everybody, Chris Fafalius here. One thing that people who know me know about me is that I like to eat. Even more so, I like to eat good food. And by good food, I mean that I like to eat good, farm-fresh food that's delivered right to my door and is easy to prepare. I think you know where I'm going here. That's why I love HelloFresh. There's a reason why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. It's because it makes home cooking easy, fun, and affordable, and lets you skip out on those annoying trips to the grocery store. Look, we all have crazy schedules, which makes it easy to fall into a dinner time rut. I've had my share of frozen pizzas, believe me, but with HelloFresh, you could keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every week, so there's always something delicious to discover. With so many in-season ingredients, you'll taste the freshness of fall in every bite of HelloFresh's chef-crafted recipes. Produce travels from the farm to your door for peak ripeness you can taste. Okay, listen to how good this deal is. Go to HelloFresh.com/51hit and use the code 51hit for 50% off plus free shipping. That's code 51hit. That's the number 50 and the words one hit, all is one word with no spaces, at HelloFresh.com/51hit to get 50% off plus free shipping. It's seriously an insane deal. There's a good reason why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
Ready for a head-bangingly good time? Dive into the world of heavy metal with the Brutally Delicious podcast. Here, we don't just talk music. We welcome you into our heavy metal family. Join us for candid chats with legends and rising stars. We go beyond the typical interviews, exploring raw emotions and the life-altering impact of heavy metal. So whether you're a diehard metalhead or just curious, join our family and let the headbanging begin with the Brutally Delicious podcast.
At Maximum Mediocrity, people say things like,
I don't dress like this on the regular basis. This isn't my, pooping uniform. This is not what I wear.
and they also say things like,
The nurses are usually either angels of mercy or whores.
every episode is a new experience where you get to know people that aren't famous but should be.
Why did my facing Floyd Mayweather in the woods?
My co-host Morgan and I track down the people you didn't know you needed to hear from.
It's like hot sex in a mug.
We are the Maximum Mediocrity Podcast, and we are on all major podcasting platforms. We'll be waiting for you.
Let me ask you this, because I just had someone pop in my head, but what are some other artists that you can think of who do like rap songs where they're having a conversation with themselves, but like in a slightly different voice? Because the artist that jumped into my mind right away was DMX. DMX would do those like songs like Damien, where it's like him talking to the devil on his shoulder, and he would do a different voice for the devil on his shoulder, having a conversation with him.
I mean, I guess that thing of having a conversation with another voice that's still you, Kendrick Lamar does it. Nicki Minaj does it.
Yeah, she does.
These are super huge artists. So that thing is done a lot, but maybe he just needed to be having a conversation with a different voice and the pitched up or something. And maybe he knew the rise of gangster rap was there and he could be successful. He could parlay his success into success in marketing or whatever he said he did, promotions. But dude, in 1996, he released more music. That song Black Cinderella, which I think is really good. It's a lot more R&B. It went to 92 on the R&B charts. I thought it was a very cool song. Yeah. I liked it.
He put out a lot of singles, but he never got another album out. And that might fly more in 2022 than it was going to fly in 1994, 96, 97, like in that range, where like we're talking I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty confident the like mid to late 90s was the absolute peak of like record sales, where it was like people were just going out and buying the album. And then like right around 2000 Napster shows up, and then it starts to trend downward and never really has much of a life after that, except for in the basement of Matt Kelly. Matt Kelly's keeping the album sales up,
keeping it alive single-handedly. Hey, this album, The Skills to Pay the Bills, that I Got a Man is on, it's the first recorded instance of the phrase "drop it like it's hot," which is used on 2 songs on the album, Ain't No Crime and Minnie the Moocher.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, I noticed back on his original song with MC Lyte, I'm Not Having It. And also in this song, he's always talking about crabbin. And I'm like, what is crabbin? Let me see what the line is in I Got a Man. It's like, oh yeah. Well, she says, well, hey, I think you're bluffing. Well, I'll call my man. Well, I can get a ragamuffin. You better catch a flashback. Remember, I'm not crabbing it. You know my style from I'm not having it. But he talks about crabbin several times back in the song with MC Light as well. And I'm like, what is crabbin? He's always talking about crabbin. So of course I went to Urban Dictionary, and some of these have to absolutely be not what it is. There's one I think it is. It's definitely not when a girl sends nudes in. Now they made the symbols for the position, but basically it would mean like with your knees up in the air like a crab. Like I don't think that's not what he's saying. When a man is urinating in a public urinal on his own and he attempts to urinate an equal amount in each urinal by sidestepping like a crab while using his hands to control urine distribution.
God, I hope that's what it is that he's talking about.
I don't think that's it either. There's another one that says the way in which a person walks sideways, particularly in a nervous situation or when feelings of anxiety overcome the body, which I could see, I thought maybe, but then also crabbin I saw could mean to lie / bullshit / procrastinate. Yo, you get some weed yet? Said he'll be soon. I think he crabbin. That's what it says. So I think it's that. I think it means lying, right?
Rap Genius was no additional help whatsoever.
Okay.
Which literally just on the hyperlink for that just said, this is a reference to the previous song you did with MC Light where she said this lyric.
Right. Yeah. It's said several times on the MC Light one. But okay. So crabbin, as far as I know, didn't really catch on, but Drop It Like It's Hot. I wonder if he got any, I don't know. I don't think he got any.
You
think
Snoop sent him some cash? The album version starts with a movie sample.
Yeah, Die Hard
2. And it's kind of an in joke, right? Because he says, I can't fucking believe this. How can the same shit happen to the same guy twice?
Right.
And it is, of course, the fact that he's literally repeating the song that got him on the Billboard charts at all the first time around.
Yeah. Yeah, he just did a better version of it. Or, the beat is better. I mean, it would have been cool if you got MC Light back to do it again, but he sounds great, and he probably didn't have to split any royalties. The main sample that you're hearing in this song is from the 1980 disco single "Rescue Me" by A Taste of Honey. I mean, there's a lot of samples in this song, but that's like the main one you're hearing.
Okay.
Cool song.
I mean, it's a really, really cool song. This is a really good song. And this wasn't the first time I've heard this song, but like I said, I was listening to that Beavis and Butthead album, and I was like, who is this Positive K guy? And then I saw his biggest hit was I Got a Man, and I made sure to listen to it before I threw it on the long list of songs that people could choose from.
Did you know that Aretha Franklin was a big fan of Positive K?
That doesn't shock me, actually.
So I watched Positive K. I mean, this is from about 5 years ago, but he was on a morning show called Sister Circle Live. And he told the story because, he was on the show. It was the day after Aretha Franklin had died. So they were talking about her. Was he a fan? He's like, yeah, of course. She was, she felt like she was everybody's mother, sister, aunt, and best friend at the same time. He said all kind of nice stuff about her. But he told a story about how she called him. And he's like, get out of here, whatever. And he hung up on her because he didn't believe it was actually her. But actually, then he saw her in an interview talking about how she was a fan. And he's like, oh, shit, I hung up on Aretha Franklin. And then so he got back in touch with her, and he ended up performing for her at some concert. Also, Positive K in recent year has started doing comedy. I don't know. He was he was promoting his comedy show that he was performing on Sister Circle Live, and they asked him for some advice, and I thought his advice was pretty cool. I had to agree with it. It was keep your circle small, and if you can do it yourself. I really like that.
I'm into that.
I was like, man, I love that.
I mean, he, I don't know, I can't remember this movie too well, but he did briefly appear in a movie as well. He showed up in A Bronx Tale as an angry protester, it says.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, do you like A Bronx Tale?
I haven't seen it in a really long time. I like A Bronx Tale. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that I discovered the existence of that movie through it being sampled in an Atari song.
Oof.
I said, what the hell is this clip about, like, locking the door to see if the girl unlocks it for you?
The car test. The car test doesn't apply anymore because everyone, I don't know. I guess.
It was a good movie, though. I remember liking it. It's hard to find. Like, I don't think it's streaming right now. Okay. And I remember at one point I was trying to get a DVD for my shelf, and it was like fairly out of print. Like the DVDs were going for like $20, $30 used, and I was like, I'm not paying $30 for a used copy of A Bronx Tale.
Wow. That kid who starred in A Bronx Tale, he went down a dark path. He ended up in prison and all kind of stuff.
No.
Yeah, he went down. But then he was on The Sopranos a little bit. Like he was kind of like a secondary character that was like they hung out with Christopher a little bit. You never watched The Sopranos, did you?
No, and ironically, I mean, I should get around to it because I have Max, which I'm sure is available to watch on there. Also, the house that I currently live in, before I lived here, my sister and her husband lived here, and The Sopranos is her husband's favorite show, so we had the complete series on DVD. And when they were moving out, he said, I'm leaving this here for you to watch. And then you can return it to me upon finishing it. And I've been here for 3 years. I haven't cracked that thing open yet. So
dude,
I really should.
So good. Like I like to recommend shows too. I'm like, you got to watch Reservation Dogs. No, man. If you haven't watched The Sopranos yet, that's the show that changed everything. That show is amazing.
They're not like stupid long seasons too, right? Like, because I'm doing that OC podcast, and each season's like 27 episodes, which is just too many goddamn episodes.
It's 10 episode seasons. 10 episodes.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll you know what? I don't know if I'll be able to complete it in the next 2 months, but once I get past all the, like, it's the holidays, so I'm watching Halloween movies, and then I'm doing like all the Christmas 365 stuff. So I'll kick off 2024 by binging The Sopranos.
I would be very happy to hear your thoughts on The Sopranos as you're watching it. That'd be awesome.
But I want to hear your thoughts on Positive K. Do you think?
I got to tell you a couple more things before I give you some sort of verdict. In like the mid 2000s, Nas released a song, Where Are They Now 90s remix. It was Nas featuring the Hip Hop All-Stars, and Positive K was part of that.
Nice. Did you listen? I haven't got a chance to listen to that. I did catch that.
Did you see who all was on it?
No. Who was all on there?
All the features are Redhead Kingpin. I don't know him. Rob Bass.
Nice.
The original Spinderella. Father MC, Moni Love, Mike G, EST. Then Positive K, Dre from DOS Effects, Do It All, Chip Fu from the Foo-Schnickens, and Drace from Black Sheep. So
I love the Foo-Schnickens so goddamn much.
Yeah, well, he's on that song.
I'm going to check out that song as soon as we're done this episode.
And also, I don't know if you knew this, but in 2019, Positive K and MC Lyte got it back together to release I'm Still Not Having It. There's an animated music video that goes along with it too. So
I love it. I do love that he still releases the singles as the ideas come to him.
Yeah.
I know that he put out a collaboration with a rapper named Greg Nice a couple years ago as well. But yeah, I think as far as solo albums, Skills That Pays the Bills is the only like full-length solo release that he has.
Okay. I watched all the videos, all of his music videos for every single that he had released. There was a list of all his singles. And man, I liked most of them. Even when he got a little more serious and a little more R&B later in the 90s, to be honest, I even liked I'm Still Not Having It. Like I thought like this is pretty good. He sounds good. I think he's a good rapper. I watched whatever his newest single was too. And once again, I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't from that long ago. He has released music recently. And to be honest, he looks exactly the same. He doesn't even barely looks like he aged at all. And he still sounds good. A little bit more of a throwback flow and style, but I think it's good. You know, I think I would tend, maybe before digging into him more, to have thrown him into the same vein as who sings I Wish I Was a Little Bit Taller?
Skee-Lo.
And I think he's way better than Skee-Lo.
I mean, we'll get to a Skilo episode one of these days, but I probably would be inclined to agree with you. So in 2022, according to Spotify, he released the singles I Get It Done and Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I just noticed, when did this come? I can't find the exact date on when this came out, but this year on Spotify, it says, I Got a Man re-record it sped up version, which makes me wonder, did this song have a TikTok moment this year that we didn't know about?
It either did or they were really trying to make it have one. I mean, it would make sense. You could very easily use this for, funny videos on TikTok, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why you got to speed it up.
I hate the sped up sound of all of those singles, but
I don't get it, really. I mean, I guess in a way I do, because as a kid, and I had a little record player where you had the different speeds on it, sometimes I would like to turn up the speed on the record, and that was fun to listen to it that way.
Or slow down the speed on certain ones too would be fun. I would take the Chipmunks and put it on a slower speed on my dad's turntable.
Make them sound normal. Hey, also, I got a question for you when it comes to podcasts. Now, I know you can listen to podcasts at 1.5 speed or 2 times speed or whatever. Who is listening to podcasts at 0.5 or 0.75 where it sounds like all the hosts are drunk? Why are people doing that?
I don't know why that's an option. Yeah, that's a weird call. But so Positive K, I feel pretty positive about him. So I don't know. I was into you're the bigger Positive K fan, I would say, just out of knowing this song longer than a couple months. So
Positive K, if you're out there listening, first of all, come on the show, man. We'd love to have you. I every interview I see with him, he just seems like a really cool guy, and he's funny. I mean, I think our episodes are awesome when we have people that are funny on them.
Yeah. Maybe he'll talk about Skilo.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Positive K, if you're listening, I love what you said about keeping your circle small, and if you could do it yourself. I think that's amazing. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's great. And I think you're really good, man. I think you're really cool and you're really good if you're listening. And that's why I'm not even going to beat around the bush here. I'm stamping Positive K with a roaring thunder all the way for Positive K.
I enjoyed every single song that I listened to today while preparing for this episode. I'm co-signing that thunder. This is a certified thunder for whoever wants to start writing that down on these artists' Wikipedia pages. Positive K received a certified thunder in 2023 by the One Hit Thunder podcast.
We should send
mail
the artist,
it to them.
Yeah, send the artist a certificate. If we get address, I wish we could get the artist mailing
My
addresses.
mom's a notary. We could get it so legit.
Get them notarized. Definitely. Yeah, it's like $10 to get something notarized. I definitely split that with you, Matt, if you want to start getting stuff notarized and send it to the artist. Matt, you're my own personal Positive K. I don't think you're ever crabbing, and I think you always drop it like it's hot.
Well, this episode's been a baby breeze. This has been One Hit Thunder. One Hit Thunder is hosted by Chris Afalios of the band Punchline and produced by Matt Kelly of Geekscape.net. Underneath me, you're hearing Linger off the cover album Songs from '94. Be sure to check out punchline.com for any upcoming news about the band. Our podcast is on Patreon now. Find us at patreon.com/OHT podcast for early access to episodes, bonus conversations, and a chance to vote on future songs for us to cover. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app, and tune in next week for more One Hit Thunder.
So deep, you know I'm such a fool for you. You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger? Oh, I thought the world of you. I thought nothing could go wrong. But I was wrong. I was wrong. If you could get by, trying not to lie.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Ready for a head-bangingly good time? Dive into the world of heavy metal with the Brutally Delicious podcast. Here, we don't just talk music. We welcome you into our heavy metal family. Join us for candid chats with legends and rising stars. We go beyond the typical interviews, exploring raw emotions and the life-altering impact of heavy metal. So whether you're a diehard metalhead or just curious, join our family and let the headbanging begin with the Brutally Delicious podcast.
This is Krista Makes, guitarist and vocalist for Less Than Jake, and host of Krista Makes a Podcast, a songwriting podcast where every week I'm joined by an amazing guest to break down the writing, recording, and release of one iconic song from their career. In our giant evergreen back catalog of episodes, we've had rock legends such as Dee Snider and Huey Lewis, punk rock favorites like Mark Hoppus, Fat Mike, and Brett Gurewitz, and up-and-coming artists of today such as Liz Stokes of the Beths and Genesis Owusu. We've had guests from all genres and styles of music, and I guarantee that if you peruse our back catalog, you'll see several episodes that'll make you say, man, I gotta hear that. Whether you're a fan of music or a creator of music yourself, you'll take away a whole new appreciation for the songs you know and love. Krista Makes a Podcast is available for free on all the places you could possibly listen to podcasts, and new episodes come out every Monday.